What's going on, guys? It's Adam P, and welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. Of course, we are out here in the streets of South Korea. Evening time now, and it's around 37 degrees today. Crazy. Of course, we have a match day tomorrow as Newcastle United takes on the K-League All-Stars. So make sure if you haven't done so already to subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. After tomorrow, Newcastle are going to be incredibly busy with events planned out here in South Korea. They've got their media day 2 days later, so they've got all sorts plan. So make sure hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of it. 61% of you watching this video have not done that. So make sure you do that. So in terms of transfer news and any activities that are going on, you don't miss any of it here on the channel. And speaking of the transfer news, to be truthful with you, I'm expecting 2 uploads today. We've got one coming out now, which will address everything regarding Alexander Isak. There's been a lot of information regarding his current transfer situation in the past 24 hours. And then the later one today, the likes of Aaron Rams doing any other players where it's been reported on social media. We'll get into the discussions about them and what's going to happen in terms of incoming signings. But we'll start off with the important news of Alexander Isak now. Yasir Al-Rumayyan, of course, the PIF chairman, has now stepped in to deal with the Isak situation. So he is hands-on with this deal. No matter whether Isak leaves this summer or he stays, the chairman is hands-on with this. And if you want one individual behind the scenes that will do the work for us, the chairman's your best bet, and he is number one at Newcastle. So he is the guy where, especially for his agent, especially for the player, he's the sort of guy that might turn Isak's head back around, but has the damage been done, and is it too late when you look at the situation itself? Now, you speak about Eddie Howe, and you speak about what the manager said in the press conference today. So, of course, he was asking the journalist about the Isak situation. And in my opinion, seemed more upbeat about the situation. I think especially when he was asked after the Arsenal game, came across as peeved off, which is understandable, and I wouldn't blame the guy at all. But certainly today, he seemed a lot better about it. He spoke more well about it. Certainly said that, well, I want to keep Isak first. I like to hope that the club has full control of the situation. But again, we will do what's best for the club. Came across, while not giving anything away, certainly came across as more positive, and that's always quite a hard thing to judge by out here as well, because trust me, all the travelling, everything that's been going on, going across from Singapore to South Korea, my word, it is hard. It is tough. Now, I've actually slept in the hotel for like 13 hours today. It's probably took me out all this travelling. I'm not personally used to bouncing around different parts of a continent while we are on tour. But yeah, it certainly has took a lot of me personally, and that's not even speaking about the manager. He's got to do all the training ground work. He's got to do all the work with the squad while he's out here. So by judging him and his reaction, it's hard to judge him because he's probably knackered. That's also a very valid point. There has been reports going around social media where the claim that Yasir is in the UK now, a sort of situation. Now, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's false. That's been murmured around in social media, but entirely possible, especially with him being hands-on the Isak contract talks now, the Isak situation of letting him go. He's fully on with it. So entirely possible. He could be in Newcastle. He could be in the North East. He could be somewhere in the UK. I don't personally know that, but I certainly look into something like that, and we'll see if we'll be able to give you a better answer in a future video. But again, Eddie Howe seems positive about it. The chairman is now fully in on it. And even when the ask the players, Kieran Trippier was questioned yesterday from the Chronicle about his opinion of the situation. He spoke so well. He went, well, our telephone's always available 24/7 for Isak. He can always speak to me. We want to keep a hold of him. He's talked about the injury back home, but he's always said that, well, Isak, you want to stay at Newcastle, and I love Trippier about it. What a legend he is. Absolutely class. And when you hear players about him, with the exception that Joe Linton posted from a few days ago, all the players have tried to say as little as possible. There have obviously been media trends. So, of course, anyone that asks about Isak, they would have been fully briefed on it. They've all stuck with the injury angle, and they've all stuck with saying that we want him to stay at the football club. We want to make sure that he doesn't go anywhere this summer. They've always stuck with that same narrative. And Trippier, again, this comes across as class, doesn't he? I love that guy so much. Now, everything behind the scenes has been slow with the Isak stuff and what Newcastle plans to do next. We definitely need a striker no matter what, because, of course, we let Callum Wilson go this summer, and while we have been trying to get that strike in the background, still has not happened. So if we were to let Isak go as well, you need 2 strikers in before you sell him. Now, the Premier League season starts in 3 weeks, so you've got a real tight and strict deadline to kind of meet. And it's tough for Newcastle now. I think it's a tough answer to ask no matter what you do. Now, I stand by it, and I fully stick with it. I think Isak should be sold this summer. Once you have a player that is looking elsewhere, and once he declares that he wants to go elsewhere, it's not healthy to keep a hold of him. Now, I actually think now it's entirely possible that Newcastle may just keep him around for 12 more months and then let him go next summer. You've seen it in the transfer market. Teams know we are desperate to bring a striker in. We're being ripped off left, right, and centre. And we've got real strict guidelines and deadlines that we need to reach. And it's tough for Newcastle. It is tough. And I feel for Eddie Howe and I feel for the players because while Isak always has that right and always has the ability to be able to go, well, you know, I want to play elsewhere. I want to try and win more trophies. I want to have more success. And you can't blame the player on an individual basis for wanting to go out there and do better for himself. But time is horrific. I think the situation itself is horrific. Isak at least should be showing us the respect of being out on this leisure tour. And then if something happens during the tour, you can let him go. But he's declared he's going to go anywhere, refusing to train basically. He's refusing to come out on this tour. It doesn't look good at all. And I would even say that it's entirely possible that Newcastle may keep a hold of him for one more season. It depends on what happens and it depends on what we do. Liverpool have to pay big money to bring him in. I don't think Newcastle would accept 120, 130, and especially in terms of how the payment would be structured as well. Newcastle needs a lot of that money up front to be able to spend in this window now. So when you look at the Isak situation, the guy's essentially shot himself in the foot because, well, after all this stuff, if we then don't sell Isak this summer, what's he going to do this season? Is he going to sit inside the club and do nothing? I don't think that would happen. So we then play for Newcastle after declaring that he wants to go elsewhere. So me as a supporter and you as a supporter watching this video, what are we going to be like with Isak? Of course, we're going to be quite negative towards the player and why he is still a Newcastle player. And I'm not going to deny Isak scores at the start of the season. I will be jumping up and enjoying. I'll be celebrating as if nothing has happened. But we aren't going to forget truthfully this summer. We aren't going to forget the way he's acted in terms of leaving the football club. And I think he has, at this stage, potentially burnt his bridges, at least for the fan base. I know the club's going to stick by him and want what's best for him, but it doesn't look good now. My issue is, let's say we do keep you sack and then we just say next summer we'll let you go then. What happens in the last 10 games of the season? What happens when we get to the back end of this season and Isak then starts to not go into tackles? He then starts to not fully give 100% because he knows that he wants out this summer. And if he gets injured towards the back end of this season, he's going to be knackered in the transfer market. And that's my fear. I think, especially towards the end of this season, you have a player that will effectively not give 100% because, of course, he wants to be all fit and ready to play for a new football club next summer. And is that the right approach and the right mentality you want Newcastle? I don't think so. I honestly don't think it is. I think once a player's head is turned and he wants to look to go to a different football club, while, of course, Newcastle should stand his way to make sure we get a good fee and a good pay for the player, I don't think we should be keeping him this season. I do stand by. I'm very vocal towards Isak. I'm very vocal towards the situation because I want what's best for Newcastle. And I think the money you get as well, Charlie Bennett's added the funds up here. You're getting around £110 million in profit, which, of course, spread that across 5 seasons, you're getting essentially 550 million, which you can just spend. It's just mental. So Newcastle have a lot to spend if we do sell him for a good fee, like 150 million. But then again, will Liverpool play that? Will Liverpool play that up front? Liverpool, of course, Eddie Howe spoke in the press conference. He said that there hasn't been any approach from them yet. They might drag it out as well. And there's so many question marks going up, and it's just not going to go away anytime soon. You want my answer now? I still feel like selling him is the correct answer, but it's a hard question to ask. How will Newcastle move on from this? How will Newcastle deal with this? Because in the transfer market, you can see that we have been struggling this summer, so it's a tough one. It's tricky. Honestly, I could see it going either way. I stand by it. I think we should sell him, but Newcastle may, especially with Yasir now getting involved with the situation, may convince the player to stay for one more year. Is that the correct approach? And is that what Newcastle should be doing? Hard question to ask. It is a hard question. So you guys try and answer in the comment section. What would you do? I'm still on the fence. I still stand by, in my personal opinion, that we should sell him. But I'm kind of on the fence in the club's point of view. Because I can understand why they would want to keep him for one more year anyway. I don't think his value would go down much next season if they were to keep a hold of him. And then at that point, still 2 years in the contract, and the player again will try and probably get a move elsewhere. So for Newcastle, I can understand them wanting to keep with him, but can you convince him to do that? And has the bridges already been burnt again? You guys have to answer the question there. But take care. Appreciate you watching. We'll be back again later on tonight, of course, with transfer news regarding the other players. It's just that much going on. I've got to separate the videos at this point. There's just so much going on. So take care. I'm going to go and get some rest now because my word, it is hot out here. Appreciate you watching, and we will see you all in the next one.